Hello, Professor Botha. How are you?
Good, and you?
Very good, thank you. Welcome to our presentation.
Thank you so much. Thank you for my great invite.
Yes, okay, excellent. Well, Professor Botha, from our side, we are ready to get going when you're ready.
Ready?
I don't know if you have any questions. Okay, so just to give you just a brief rundown, we'll start with a presentation, and throughout the presentation, we'll also take you through a PowerPoint slide. The PowerPoint slide will be the main image that you'll be seeing on your screen. I will start off with the introduction, and then the rest of the speakers will take you through the main text of the project, and then I will finish off with a conclusion as well. After the conclusion, you are more than welcome to ask any and as many questions as what you would like. And yeah, for your convenience and everybody else's, we are recording this presentation, and it will be uploaded onto YouTube as well for any further referencing. And please feel free to share it and to use it.
Right, thanks.
Yes. Okay. So let's get started then. Okay, so I'm just
don't mind me taking notes or typing on the other screens as you present.
Okay.
I'll ask questions afterwards.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So as earlier indicated, Professor Botha, our project is concerning artificial reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality in the media industry. In 1935, Stanley Webber created the idea of a virtual reality in his book, Pygmalion Spectacles. 84 years later, 2.71 billion people are able to partake in augmented reality through their smartphones. Allow us to take you on a journey that explores the new worlds of virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. We look at how these technologies are shaking up the media industry and at what cost. We then look further into the future and see what exactly is down the rabbit hole. Okay, virtual reality, augmented reality. Augmented reality is effectively used to bring digital information into the real world by using computer-generated perceptual information. Example, Pokemon Go and Instagram's face filters. In 1992, Louis Rosenberg created virtual fixtures, the first operational AR system which overlays augmented information on a user's perception of a real environment to help improve performance. In 2000, Hirokazu Kato from Nara Institute of Science and Technology created and released AR Toolkit. This software enables users to capture real-world actions and combine it with interactions of virtual objects through the use of camera and the internet. The importance of AR cannot be overstated, as AR may be used to get a sense of proportion and characteristics of conceived model in order to study basic forms of ideas. This allows for collaboration within the design team to detect any anomalies or difficulties that may arise, and therefore to make adjustments before the actual fabrication process. In real time, AR is also used in the medicinal field to make surgery accessible in remote environments. And then I'll give it over to my colleague Sherwin.
Morning, guys. Apologies for the disrupted and late joining of the meeting. It's taking over from William.
I didn't realize. That's wonderful.
Cool. So taking over from William, moving on to mixed reality. It is also called hybrid reality and is the merging of real and virtual worlds to produce new environments and visualizations where physical and digital objects coexist to interact in real time. Mixed reality is not a technology in itself, but rather a combination of VR and AR, and is effectively bridging the gap between the two. AR consultants, for example, may use MR to enhance the augmented reality experienced by creating interactive holographic apps to overlay onto the real world, whereas VR engineers create MR software that makes greater use of virtual environments, making the real world a secondary element of the overall experience. Our next speaker, Julio, is going to take us through the impact on industries of these technologies.
Good day, everyone. I'll be covering the disrupted industries. I'll cover two industries, which is the film and the game industry. How is this different from the classic cinema? In the classic cinema, the normal watcher becomes an observer. In the virtual reality movies, the 360 degrees experience is created where the watcher becomes the part of the action. How do they experience this virtual reality movie? Audience have to wear a headset display, which is put in front of their eyes. Few of this display headsets is called the Samsung VR or the Google Cardboard, just to name a few brands. Moving on to the gaming industry. The gaming industry also apply the augmented reality technologies, products such as Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go is the mobile game developed and published by J.E.K for iOS or Android smart devices. It was one of the most profitable apps in 2016. December 2018, the game grossed $3 billion worldwide revenue. Moving into the industries to be disrupted in the future. Also here I focused two industries, the footwear and the visual advertising. Covering the footwear first. Traditionally, the footwear industries are very reluctant to new technologies. Because of this, they are mostly occupied by small to medium-sized companies, which they cannot afford high or expensive equipment. But one thing they've realized that using this AR, VR, and MR technologies, they can improve product quality and improve customer satisfaction. Just to name a few of this system of technologies, the stereoscopic, the 3D interface, and the magic mirror. Just a brief summary of the three technologies. The stereoscopic rendering system. This gives users the illusion of the physical, seeing the virtual shoe model. This, for both the designer and the consumer, provides useful information and realism of the product. Moving to 3D interface. The designer interacts with the 3D environment by performing intuitive actions, meaning using hand gestures to manipulate the 3D image. Moving to the third one, the magic mirror system. The camera captures the customer's image fitting on the visual shoe. Just for an example, the image on the right, the lady fitting on the visual dress. Moving to the next slide. Moving to the next industry that will be disrupted in the future, the visual advertising. Realtor.com developed an app that assists buyers by providing them with valuable information about the designated property. The property information is received by pointing the smart device's camera towards the object or the property, and then valuable information is given for that specific designated property. I'll be giving to my colleague, John, to cover the next topic.
Morning. So I'll be looking at the companies positively and negatively impacted by technology. So first, let's look at the positive impacts. In the news and industry, the New York Times embraced VR by launching an app, NYCVR, in 2015 that delivers the content via an app on your mobile phone. And they also went as far as providing their readers with cardboard headsets that enhance the experience for free. In the film industry, VR opens new avenues for filmmakers where they can explore the boundary between film and the audience. It becomes blurry, which turns the old experience of simply watching the film as an outsider to rather being part of that film. It also plays a role in assisting filmmakers to visualize green screen filming, making it possible for actors to interact with the characters in the background. Other non-conventional media users is prominent in the documentary type short movies, where organizations like the Alzheimer's Research Clinic in the UK and Greenpeace and Pencils of Promise use these forms of media, VR specifically, to make a statement, deliver a message that raises awareness and empathy of their viewers and focus on real life experiences. These platforms manipulate the thinking and behavior of audiences and provide them with information in a very personal fashion, letting them experience it, seeing it, and that makes them feel part of it as if they're directly participating, and that raises their level of empathy.
Sure, interesting.
The companies that can be negatively impacted. So again, in the news industry, the role of the journalist in the news industry is to investigate and tell stories to readers and viewers, and at the same time abide by the Society of Professional Journalists Code of Ethics. These technologies will complicate the role of the journalist, and they will have to learn new storytelling skills and be able to decide what to share and how to share the information. It also opens a debate around what's ethical, what can be shared in such a fashion. For example, a natural disaster or a brutal killing may not be something that should be visually shared with the public via these platforms. As the impact of what the audience experiences is more emotionally intense and can impact behavior and their empathy levels, there's also a risk of influencing audience or individuals negatively based on their personal past experience and mapping reference of the real world, and they may act on those emotions. Another platform that might be impacted negatively is radio. Radio currently relies on listeners and make their money by advertising, which it will potentially not be able to do on the current conventional platform. Radio companies now have to expand their platform to include visuals to remain relevant. Consumers are also getting accustomed to choice on demand, and radio cannot currently comply to that. The future of radio as a medium in the media industry is questionable at the moment. Okay, thank you. I'm handing over to Johannes.
Oh yes, mine is only on the current and future developments of the three technologies being AR, VR, and MR. So the current developments of the AR technology is that the technology is more prevalent in the medical industry due to medical applications that are based on image-guided surgery. And on the other hand, the AR virtual dressing room is another development that enables customers to experience real-life clothes without physically wearing them. And on the future developments of the technology is evolving very fast, and its use in navigation is growing with enhanced GPS systems that will provide the drivers with real-time information on their destinations and directions. The next slide is on the visual reality technology. And the current development on that technology is that the head-mounted devices provides visual reality for the wearer, and they are used in video games and also in other applications such as simulators and trainers. And on the other hand, the car manufacturers also use the VR technology for prototyping purposes during the design phase. And on the future developments, the technology allows remote tours of museums and other places without physically getting to the buildings. So the next slide is on the mixed reality technology. The current mixed reality technologies are used within the education industry using 3D projections and simulations, which assist students to interact and manipulate visual objects in order to study them in a way that is relevant to themselves. And the technology is also slowly changing the engineering industry through the 3D modeling to remote repair guidance and project monitoring apps, and it also allows engineers to build projects in a shared visual environment. On the future development of the MR technology, big data and cloud computing will also play a significant role in MR technologies. thank you. I'm giving over for conclusions to Mr. William.
Thank you very much, Johannes. Ms. Botha, that concludes the main body of the presentation. And then just in summary, to just again stress that in summary, it is clear that the abilities of AR, VR, and MR offers are vastly different from anything seen before. The way in which information can be delivered will greatly change. Media channels that are able to comprehensively exploit the abilities of it are likely to greatly benefit at the cost of channels that are not able to do so. Disruption is guaranteed and at a steep rate. We can only embrace it. So thank you very much, Ms. Wood. Thank you very much, Professor Botha. That concludes it. Before I open the floor to any questions, I just want to, from my side, there were one or two occasions where a couple of speakers unfortunately broke up a little bit. Are there any specific parts of the presentation you would just like to rehear, or?
No, thank you. I could more or less follow, except Jean had one slide where she spoke about printed media and the positive impact of this on printed media. And I couldn't make out exactly what the positive impact was.
The first one, you're referring to the New York Times?
Yes, the New York Times, yes.
So for the New York Times, they've adopted VR and have very specific stories that they're sharing currently via the VR platform. So they've created an app and they've even provided goals to their readers. So they're actually one of the first papers that adopted this technology.
Cool. Thank you, that's it. That was the only piece I didn't hear. Thank you so much. This was really absolutely excellent, and I feel like I've learned so much, which is it's very exciting. And I've made a few notes of stuff that I'm going to go and Google myself and use in classes with the permission of the presenters.
Sure, absolutely.
Of course, yeah.